Now, these are measures that only governments can do, creating the conditions that are there so that the private sector can do what it does best: innovate, create opportunity, and turn digital technologies into dynamic businesses. The reality is that while government can play a key role in providing the legislative and investment framework, it is the private sector that has the talent, the technology, and the entrepreneurial drive to play the primary role to seize this initiative and secure Canada's leadership in the global digital economy. Let me turn for a moment to the document we're releasing today. As I say, there's the actual prop, and of course there are online versions of this as well. Of course, what we're trying to do is create a Made in Canada strategy focused on a number of key areas that will be critical to our success as a country. Chief amongst these is how best to encourage the greater adoption of digital technologies. Now, I don't need to remind you how important these new tools can be to propelling our economic growth and enhancing our quality of life. Already, these technologies are transforming the way we communicate, the way we run our businesses, conduct commerce, and run government. They're revolutionizing how medical professionals keep us healthy, how research is done, and how students learn. And they will continue to change our world in ways that we can't even imagine. The amazing progress in genomics, for example, became possible only because of the revolution in computing, power that could handle the vast amounts of data generated by DNA sequencing. So the pace of progress is continuing to accelerate, driving down costs and creating new opportunities. A decade ago, it cost more than $3 billion to sequence the human genome. Today, a prototype being launched by an American company promises to do the same for less than $100, ushering in a new era of predictive, preventative, and personalized medicine, and fundamentally altering how we view health as a society. That's just one example. So given the transformative power of these technologies, how is Canada doing at integrating them into our economy? The truth is, again, as Kevin alluded to, not great. At the moment, Canada is in the middle of the pack of member countries in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in terms of how rapidly we adopt digital technologies, the strength of our industry, and the speed and price of our online infrastructure. And frankly, that's not good enough. Not when digital technologies are being embedded in leading-edge business processes, products, and services, in everything from manufacturing cars to mining uranium, from greener energy to performing neurosurgery. And when other nations are aggressively promoting and adopting these technologies, we have to be cognizant of that as well. Today, for example, the average ICT investment per worker in Canada, is only 62% of that of the United States. So this lack of investment in digital technologies is contributing to a broader challenge that we have in Canada: lower labor productivity relative to our competitors, something that is increasingly critical given our aging workforce. So we need to do better, and we need your ideas on how best to encourage and promote the adoption of ICTs. Part of that, of course, means addressing the question of next-generation networks. The fact is that access to these networks is as important to where businesses locate today as the proximity to railroads was to manufacturing companies in the last century. Bandwidth is now the precondition for everything from research to hospitals to smartphones. And Canadians want that access to data everywhere, anytime, and on the device of their choice. And they want it at a competitive price. Notre gouvernement a consenti à financer l'expansion des services à large bande dans les collectivités mal desservies et non desservies. Cela permettra à un grand nombre de Canadiens de profiter d'importants avantages économiques et sociaux sur le plan, entre autres, de la télésanté, de tel apprentissage et emmène d'occasions d'affaires. Cela va favoriser le développement économique, stimulera l'innovation et va améliorer la qualité de vie de la population de centaines de collectivités partout au pays. Yesterday, I was pleased to announce that this broadband initiative has entered a new phase. And as a first step, we now have approved close to $77 million in funding for 52 new projects of broadband that will bring that broadband to more than 168,000 households that previously were unable to access high-speed internet service. Thank you. These projects will open up a world of possibilities for these citizens. And in the weeks ahead, we will be announcing even more broadband coverage for communities and households all across the country. But that's not all that's going on. For their part, telecom service providers have been investing heavily in communications infrastructure as well. We now boast in this country 3 mobile HSPA networks in Canada, covering 93% of the population and offering higher transmission speeds than those available in the United States. But there are other countries that have also set ambitious targets for next generation network speeds. Is this something Canada needs? Should Canada set a target for download speeds, for upload speeds? Or should we focus on providing incentives for the private sector to continuing to invest in infrastructure? What is really the best way forward? These are questions that need to be answered. As the global economy becomes increasingly digital, demand for digital products and services will also grow. And we need to make sure that the Canadian ICT sector grows along with demand. That's why we made the ICT sector one of the 4 priority areas in our science and technology strategy, which was announced by Prime Minister Harper back in 2007. Today, ICT companies account for approximately 5% of Canada's gross domestic product, but their products and services drive the competitiveness of the other 95%. Almost 39% of all private sector research and development is conducted by the ICT sector. That's an amazing amount of innovation concentrated in just one sector. But in other countries, the ICT industry plays a much bigger part of the economy. Canada's ICT sector share of business value added falls below the OECD average. Canada stands 14th out of 23 countries, well behind countries such as Finland, Ireland, South Korea, and the United States. So our challenge is to grow our ICT sector and propel its benefits into every corner of our economy. Imagine what that could mean to Canada's productivity, to our competitiveness, to our ability to generate the high-paying jobs of tomorrow. What will it take to grow the ICT industry, to produce the next RIM or OpenText, to produce 10 more firms of that size? How do we both grow Canadian firms and attract foreign-owned companies to come here? How can we work together to strengthen Canada's participation in the global supply chains and grow our tech clusters? What's required in terms of attracting and retaining the talent central to that growth? As you can see, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered.